All right, today we're going to talk about menu creation, placement, and design on your site. So, one thing I'd like to start off with is just that most of you probably know that a lot of your categories are easily accessible, probably through your top navigation menu here, in addition to your about and staff pages. However, if on the back end of your website, you create a new page, either on the Pages tab here by adding a new page, or in the Story Categories area, if you create a new category, you'll see it show up in your story categories here or in all pages, but it's not naturally going to be added to that navigation menu. So, for example, I've added a new category here to my list and a subcategory. And so if I wanted to add those two things to my navigation menu, I need to actually go in and manually do that after creating those new categories or new page on the back end of my site. So to do that, I hover over the SNO dashboard dropdown in the upper left-hand corner here, and then select the Edit Navigation Menus button, which is the fourth one down. And I will see a variety of different menus available. Some of you may only have one or two on here. Others of you may have more, depending on if you've created other menus in the past. So you'll want to make sure to just kind of click through and select the different menus to make sure that you see which one is showing up on your homepage. So you can either click through until you see the content that matches, or, and this is kind of jumping ahead, another way you can double check what menu is displayed is by hovering over SNO dashboard and going to design options and then selecting site designer. And then in your header here, you should have a menu element. Most of you will probably say menu bar. Click the gear icon on the left side of that element. And then within those settings, you select which menu to display. So in this case, I know that the menu on my homepage is displaying the menu labeled Training 2. So now that I know that, I can go back to my Edit Navigation Menus option here and make sure I select Training 2 and select, and then that will load here. So now, if I've added a new page, it will show up here in my list of pages, and I can just select that and then add it to the menu, and it will appear there at the bottom. If you accidentally add something, just click the triangle there and click Remove. And so I'd added two new categories. So again, I can find those in View All, and then I had a new category and a subcategory, so I'll add them both here, and they both appear there at the bottom of the menu. This menu is displaying the way that it loads, either top to bottom if you're looking at it as one of the hamburger menus, or left to right on that bar menu display. So I'm going to go ahead and move my new category up, and we'll put it right up behind news. And then if I want something to appear as a drop down, the way that if I go back to my home page here, the way that I have for profiles or the staff page as a drop down under about, what I do is I drag that button up to where I would like it. And then if it doesn't naturally do it, just click it and drag it slightly off to the right, and then it will say sub item. And that's how you can get that item to appear as a drop down. Now, let's say, for example, so this is called new category, but hypothetically, let's say, it was called arts and entertainment, but that's going to be a really long title for that menu. I can change what the button says by clicking that triangle icon and then changing my label there. So make any changes that you want there. And then if you save the menu, you'll see that it's been updated. And then if you refresh your reader-facing page, Now those new items are added to your menu. So that's how you can add content. Other things that you can add to a menu, in addition to pages and categories, you can add a link to a contributor's staff profile. We don't see that done too often. However, if perhaps you had a staff member win like a major award, Journalist of the Year, or something like that, you might want to highlight them by putting them in your menu for a bit. You can also link to individual stories. Again, we don't see it done too often, but it is an option here. And then you can also create custom links that go out to a outside site. So place the URL and then whatever you want the button to say, and then it will show up there. And then there we are. And if I click that, it takes me to that outside URL. So that's all the content that you can add to your menus and how you can do that. If you are interested in creating a new menu, that's easily achieved by clicking that button. Then you'll be prompted to give it a name, and then you can add all the content that you want. So then, yeah, back to placing the menu. That is done in Design Options. And typically it's going to be done here in your Site Designer. Make sure to select Header Design Desktop. That's going to be your home page. And you should have a menu on there already, but if maybe you made a secondary menu and I want to have that menu above my existing menu, what I could do is add a row, and then I could add content, place another menu bar there, and select whatever menu I would like to display. And then I would just drag it up above, save design options. And now my secondary menu is located right above the other menu. And then as far as menu design, getting that menu to look the way that you want. If I click in that gear icon, most of it's going to be done in the settings here. I can adjust the background color, the alignment of the text on those buttons, the size. Some of you may find on your menus that you have more content than can fit on the page. And so you might see a button that says more with a drop down, and that drop down will display all of the buttons that won't fit on your page there. One way to address that is either to go in and adjust your menus and actually add more drop downs to condense those items together. Or in the design here, you could make some smaller text. So that is totally up to you. You can adjust the font. Any of the fonts that you are using in the Fonts tab on your SNO Design Options are going to be available to choose from. You're not limited to what you select for the menu there, although I would highly recommend using the font that you selected for the menu, just so you're not adding extraneous fonts anywhere on your site, but you can select from any available fonts there. And then a bold or normal font there. If you capitalize the font, that capitalize the menu, it's just going to capitalize every word, or all uppercase, all lowercase. None is not going to apply any capitalization rules. It will just use whatever is typed into those buttons. And then you've got the background color of the menu items. And so that's your buttons there. And then the color that will appear when you hover your cursor over those buttons. You can then also customize what the text color is used. The auto color will just naturally pick the best color to work with the background. But if you wanted to customize that, you do have the option to do so there. And then there are a few different styles here. None. There's not going to be any special treatment when people hover over your buttons. They'll just, click them and won't see any change. Underlines, pretty self-explanatory there. And then the side border, will show that hover color that you selected and a border on the left side. So then you can select the accent color that you would like to use and some width and whether or not there are borders on the items. Then at the very bottom here, that there's just some vertical centering and whether you show this as a bar or in blocks, and then you can just add some colors there if you utilize that blocks option. And then the vertical centering and padding, just some spacing elements to give you a little more control if you're looking to, again, just adjust the spacing a little bit between your menu. Those options are available to you. But the last kind of exciting option here is you can display teasers. And if you select this, you have some design control here over how those teasers will look. And what the teasers are is, I save that, it's going to create a drop down pulling in teasers of the recent stories that were placed in that category. So some people really like that teaser option. Others prefer not to have it. One thing to note is that if you do have a drop down, it will appear off to the left side if you have teasers. So your readers will need to know that they need to go over there to click that drop down. So that is how you can add new content to your menus, create new menus, place new menus, and design your menus. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. But that is, thank you for joining me today, Kurt. That is all we've got for today. So hope to see you at future SNO webinars. Have a good day.